Okay. Carson, please turn around.
I think you should include that.
Carson, okay, we are back here with Carson Kuhn. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing all right. I'm pretty kind of tired today, but
fair enough.
School.
Fair enough. All right, so let's start with the Ladue game. Obviously, I was out for the Ladue game. So tell me how the locker room was pregame.
I think we had we had a lot of positivity, pretty good vibes in there. You know, we all kind of had this idea that we were gonna play hard and we were gonna go out there and we were gonna give a pretty good team something to worry about.
All right, so during the Ladue game, you guys went up 4-1, and you had yet another breakdown like the Francis South Central game. Describe how the vibes were on the bench and how you would and how you felt about having another breakdown like that.
I mean, after they scored their second goal, I feel like, you know, we kind of just tried to push it off, you know, just keep doing what we were doing because we were obviously up 3 goals on them, and now we're up 2. Still a pretty decent lead, but I think that we kind of just let it go too much. Like we didn't fix the things that Ladue clearly figured out about us that we needed to fix, because they're a good team. They figured us out pretty quickly, found out our weaknesses, and you could tell from the beginning of the game to the end that it was a totally different. Like we were hanging with them, and then by the end of the game they were just skating circles around us. But you know, as a player individually, it always is terrible to go down like that. But I felt like, you know, me and my line, even though we were very short benched because of penalties and things like that, the people that I was out with, I feel like, you know, we were buzzing. I think that especially Nick Morgan, I feel like we were doing all right. But then after we started losing, I think that kind of killed the vibe a little bit until we tied it up. But then obviously we went down a few more. So
I'm here with Dillion Kuhn,
yep,
the freshman goaltender of the Duchesne Pioneers. Stopped a total of 47 shots, and you still let in 6 goals, 7 with the empty netter. Describe how did you feel overwhelmed with how many shots were coming, or did you stay calm throughout the whole game? Just describe to me what you were feeling in between the pipes.
I mean, the first two periods, I was really contained and calm, but once it started getting to the third and Lucas DeLeo got that late penalty, you know, I started losing a little hope, and I just felt like I couldn't do any more than I already did, and I felt like I'd done the most, and like I was just super tired. And I mean, when you put this much motion into the game, you know, you realize how much you're putting into the game, and like I just couldn't do that much more.
Yeah. Okay. All right, time to talk about Clayton. So, because the Clayton game was so bad, I have no video footage of Clayton.
Right.
So, if you could please describe the Clayton game to your best abilities, please do.
Well, we went out there, and I'm pretty sure we actually scored first. Am I correct on that?
Nicholas Morgan, of course.
Yeah, so we went out there, and we actually struck first. And so I had a pretty good idea about that game. You know, I was like, Clayton and Ladue, they're a pretty close team, and, you know, we could have had Ladue So I thought, what's it to it? We might as well, go out there and play the best of our ability, and I think we can, catch a dub here. But the Clayton scored about 8 backdoor goals. If I had to guess, that would be the number. Probably about 7 or 8 backdoor goals. So we were just clearly not doing anything that we needed to do in the defensive end for forwards, defensemen. Like we just our entire defensive part of our game just broke down. And me as a player, I wasn't being physical enough. I wasn't going out there and battling for pucks. I was kind of just waiting for pucks to come to me. And it worked out for me once because I scored, but the whole rest of the game, I think that was my only point that game. So I just think we weren't doing enough as a team. We were all just puck watching and just waiting for the opportunity to go get ourselves onto a breakaway or try and enter the zone with, just us. But we weren't doing anything we needed to do as a team in the defensive end. So that resulted in a barrage of goals being scored on Asher. So.
It's like when you ever walk in. That'd be funny. That'd be Sty. That's what that would be.
How was the Clayton game coming off your little suspension there? And what was it like in the locker room? What was the team's idea before you guys got to playing?
Well, pregame of the Clayton game, I know I had high hopes. I wanted to get revenge on the team that knocked us out last year. I was excited to go into that game, especially since I had to sit out of the last one, it being so close, And I saw that Ladue tied Clayton, and I was like, okay, well, if we play our best hockey, then we should have this team. And I don't know how the vibes were completely. We didn't seem completely out of it, but we definitely didn't seem completely in it. Half of the team felt like we had already lost, and half of the team looked like they were ready to go out there and compete. And it definitely showed. The guys who wanted to go out there and compete, they went out there and they competed very well. And, that's why we were able to score first. But the guys who didn't want to compete, that showed through quickly, and, they put a couple goals on the board very early.
So how did the vibe switch on the bench from when we went up early and from when Clayton just started putting on goal after goal after goal, and especially in the second and third period?
Well, when Nick scored, I wasn't paying attention. I was changing lines, and Nick scored while I wasn't looking. And so when Nick scored, everybody was cheering, everybody was excited, it was definitely exhilarating to have that lead. But by the time I went back out there, Clayton put a goal on the board, and and then they put another one on the board, and then they put another one on the board, and then by then everyone just kind of had been everyone was just oh shoot, here we go again, kind of like the Edwardsville game. Once they put up 2, we kind of we were oh, okay, this is how this game's going to go. And we really shouldn't have, because we weren't out of that game. And we did put up another goal, I'm pretty sure, in that period, did we not? It was either in that period or late in this, or mid-second or something.
I think so. We had 3 goals.
Yeah, but even then, we came back within 3. We weren't out of the game, but it's just some people had given up, and I didn't exactly give up. I gave up once we went down 6. I probably shouldn't have given up at all, but I thought we were in that game. I thought just a couple lucky bounces and we were back in it, but we didn't get any lucky bounces, I can tell you that.
Okay, so now for a more enjoying game. When you go up or tie the game, and then they immediately come back and score like they did after Xavion's goal, how do you describe the mood swings on the bench, and how do you describe the difference between coming back in the Northwest game
and allowing Clayton to run away with the game. What's the difference? What happened?
Well, I think that one of the most disappointing feelings in hockey is when you score and then the other team ties it right back up after you take a lead. I don't like that at all. And Northwest did that a bunch of times. We came from behind and we got them a few times, and we went up and they came back to us once. So it was just, it was such a back and forth game. And it was a game that we honestly should have had. We were walking around and we had, 31 shots and they had something like 18. So it was clearly a game that we should have won. I mean, I'm just going to say that outright. I mean, and the bench, after I almost said Ladue, Northwest would tie it up. I think we just wanted to go right back out there and get another one. So that kept us competing, actually, because, we don't want to fall to the bottom team in the league. But I feel like that was a game we definitely should have had. Their goalie saved them a couple times, and they had some pretty solid defensemen, solid in many ways defensemen, and I just feel like we definitely could have played better that game and could have ended a little bit better too, I think.
Well, me specifically, Xavion went out and scored to make the game 2-2, and on the very next play, I tried to do some saucer pass thing to Troop, and it got picked off, and they went and scored. And so I remember my emotions going from an all-time high, being hyped that Xavion scored, and then an all-time low because I completely blew it. But then it went back to an all-time high because I went out there and tied the game. So, at that point, those type of games take a little bit of extra push to just keep going back out there and keep going back and tying the game, because it doesn't take a lot of extra energy to just blow out a team, and it doesn't take a lot of extra energy to, once you make a comeback, to keep that comeback. But if you got to consistently change up your game plan from a defensive mindset to an all offense mindset, it takes a little extra push, and so I feel like that definitely showed, especially with, how we were feeling after the game.
In some of your teammates' own words, that was a game that you guys should have had.
Mm-hmm.
With all due respect, that was a game that should have been probably an easy win.
Yeah.
Northwest is, I'm pretty sure, currently ranked bottom.
Yeah.
So what was it like to go out there and only tie with them and have to earn that tie, have to come from behind to earn a tie?
It definitely didn't feel great. I know I was looking forward to going out there and get back in the W column, because we had that strand of 4 or 5 games where we were winning. We were winning a bunch and we were looking like the hockey team we wanted to be, but, we needed to, I was excited to go back and get this W. And when we went out there, we just didn't start off strong. I mean, we came out and we played a good first shift, but, post that, everything was just a little bit difficult. It was tough to get the puck out. It was tough to get pucks on net. And, even me, I could make a move around the first guy, but the minute I would look up to shoot, there was another guy on me, And so they're not a bad hockey team. They're just not a good hockey team. They're okay. They're kind of like us, but we are definitely better than them. We just didn't play like it. And I think we need to get back to, Monday night. We need to get back to our style of hockey. And if we can do that, we can be a good team. We can go back to being that team.
Describe to me the feeling of the up and down, roller coaster, how you felt as the goalie when we would go up and blow the lead, or they would go up and they would blow the lead. Describe how, it feels as a goalie to have that roller coaster.
I mean, as a goalie, when they're coming up and they have a big lead on us, I actually kind of have a little more hope. But I think I put a lot of heart and emotion into this game. So, whenever I see, kids thriving and, thinking they already won, it kind of lets me know that, there's something I can still do.
Yeah.
And that's what most people don't think, is that when they're up by this much, you can't come back. But it's really easy to come back.
Why did you have to come out of the Northwest game?
Well, I had a late, my groin was starting to hurt, and like a late little injury on the second goal that I started feeling my leg, and it wasn't good. And as me as a player, I don't like to go out in situations like that. I like playing until I can't stop anymore, and I think coaches know that. So it took me a lot of faith to jump out the game, and say I have to lay off this, and I can't play with this injury. So
Do you think there was a lack of physicality on a team that should have been easy just to control, to hit, to make plays around?
Yeah.
You think that was there?
There was a huge fall off from the Clayton game of the amount of physicality. I mean, Bruno, shout out to him. He kept laying kids out in Clayton, and Troop was laying kids out, and I was hitting kids, and you were hitting kids, and even Dylan hit it, or even Asher hit a kid. And so like everybody was hitting everybody, and then the Northwest game happens and nobody's hitting anymore. Like people are just walking around us because we're scared to throw the body. I mean, Joe shows the same amount of physicality every game. So like, he was good, and like you could see how he worked, because when he would play defense, he would put a body on somebody and they wouldn't be able to get past him. But like me, they'd make a move around us and they wouldn't be able to, they make a move around me and they go in and they score. So yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the brawl at the end. So we were on a 2-on-1 rush.
No, I didn't. No.
Huh?
No, keep going. I said no, I didn't.
So
I'm innocent.
we were on a 2-on-1 rush, and the buzzer went off, and you kind of shot it, I guess, a tad bit late. And
Yeah, I mean.
so they came after you. So describe what happened after you shot the puck. Did you realize it was late? And then describe what happened when you had the whole Northwest bench coming after you.
Well, no, I knew it was late to begin with. Like, from the very beginning, I knew, like, after that buzzer went off, I was mad that I couldn't get down there and potentially, pass or shoot. So I took the shot, and it wasn't a good shot. It wasn't meant to be. I kind of just lobbed it over the net. And then I was just going to try and do my best to skate away and not start anything. And then I saw this guy coming at me, and I was like, I'm just going to run into this guy, because if he runs me, then he could get suspended. Then what I didn't realize, there was a guy behind me that pushed me right into his own teammate, and then I landed on someone's skate right here, so that kind of hurt a little bit. And I know I shot it late. I know you're not supposed to do that, but I don't think it should have caused what it did. Like, in all honesty, I think they should have just let me kind of skate away with that, because I don't really see what the problem was. I shot it maybe a half second after the buzzer. It's not like it's a huge deal. It happens all the time. It doesn't. I think it made slight difference because it was at the end of the game, but it happens all the time. Whistle, buzzer, whatever it is. So having their whole bench chase after me, and then seeing my brother go and throw punches after he was just on the bench it's pretty exciting. But I feel like nobody walked away with the last laugh there, because it was still a tie game in the end.
What happened in the fight?
In the fight, well, after you get, like, as a goalie myself, if I'm getting shot on when the buzzer's already off and they miss the net, I'm going up with my team and celebrating or doing whatever I need to do. I'm not going to go, start attacking the player. And then once I saw, 3 or 4 guys come off their bench about to run my brother, I mean, that's not good sportsmanship at all whatsoever. So, I saw all those guys coming in. I was like, there's no penalty being called, so I got to go help him out there.
What happened in the fight from your perspective?
I went to try to save you, and you got ran over, and I turned around, and the goalie was trying to punch you. That is all I remember.